Welcome back to the Just Men podcast, a podcast about all things men. And I'm one of your hosts, Jeremy, and this is
Byron Rose Kelly.
Welcome back to the show, Byron. Thanks for joining.
It's good to be back, Jeremy.
What are we talking about today, Byron? What is the topic of today's episode?
Oh, this is a sensitive one. I think it's one that we all experience at different points and hits us all, I'm going to say hard, but probably in different ways. And that is male loneliness, Jeremy. Male loneliness.
We're going to be tackling the topic of male loneliness today. Like I said, it's a bit of a tough one for anybody who has gone through it. I'm sure everyone's gone through it at some stage in their life. So we're going to be going through, some of the causes of male loneliness, how it affects us mentally and physically, and also some solutions and strategies for combating these things based on both research and our own personal experiences.
Exactly.
Now, before we dive straight in, again, just a little plug for our Patreon. If you guys have joined us, this is episode 4. Episode 4. We're doing great. We have got a Patreon set up just for anyone who likes what we do. If you like our vibe, if you like the value that we bring on your drive, on your run, on your workout sessions, consider joining us on the Just Men podcast Patreon. Show your support there. A little bit goes a long way for us because we love what we do and we love to keep it going and want to build this to be a bigger and better thing as time goes on.
Massive.
Yeah, just like Byron's heart. It's you thought I was going to say muscles. Yeah,
it's huge.
It's massive. So yeah, we want to build this thing to be the best it can be, and showing your support through our Patreon is the best way to do it. Now, male loneliness. Byron, before we get stuck in, I'm going to just plug out to you some statistics I pulled up about male loneliness. And let me know if you know about it. Okay, so first of all, some statistics.
All right.
Over the last 2 decades, it's been reported that young men, particularly aged 15 to 24, have experienced a 70% decline in social interaction, mostly due to, social media and technology. Because it's a lot easier to reply via, text message or Snapchat than having a chat with your mates in school, right?
Who wants to do that face-to-face conversation?
And loneliness is especially high among young men, with over 80%, that's 4 in 5 young men under 18 feeling lonely, and over 40% of those over 65. So 2 in 5 people who are old, retired, are lonely. They've got no one to talk to. They feel lonely. Do those stats strike you as surprising?
Oh, I don't know if it necessarily strikes me as surprising, but it does make me deeply sad.
Yeah.
When I think about it, because especially the notion that young men now, like you look at 5 people and 4 of them are going to be like, I am stuck by myself in this dark ditch, and where do I turn to get some light in my life?
Yeah.
That to me is terrifying, because I remember when I was in school, ideally I thought I had a good group of people around me and that I had someone to turn to and stuff like that. And thinking about the absence of what that would have, like the absence of those connections and how that would have changed my ability to actually navigate some of those interesting years, because it's always interesting when you're going through puberty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have come out very well adjusted, if I'm being honest. And that scares me a little bit, not only for those individuals, but what does it mean for, men of the future, society in general? How are they going to be able to cope? And as I said, deeply saddens me, Jeremy.
It is a little bit, because did you go to an all-boys school like me?
No, I was lucky in that.
You were lucky. You got to interact with girls. Well, I
got to see the females.
You got to see the females. Look, I didn't. I went to an all-boys school, and for the most part, there were good parts and bad parts about it, and any guy who's gone to an all-boys school could relate to this, in that the focus is on studying or hanging out with mates or whatever it is, and there definitely was a semblance of that. I don't really feel like that I saw, maybe because they were by themselves, but I didn't really see too many guys, by themselves. There's always someone talking with someone. There was no one sitting out in the corner. Any of those schoolyard tiffs or disagreements you have with guys growing up, as you do, because, not everyone gets along. I think with my cohort, by, the third or second last year of schooling, in my year level, no one really had those beefs with each other. Or if they did,
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, well, we don't get along. We've established that. Let's just, we don't have to be
Just do
friends,
our own
but
thing.
let's just be
Yeah.
civil, right?
Yeah.
So that's one part it did help with. But another part it did help with as well was, I don't think I made, like, I've got one friend from high school I still talk to occasionally. But as soon
Yeah.
as I left school, then, everyone started to find themselves a bit more. We all went our separate ways. But, even just finding that small group at school, I struggled with, just because I wasn't a very social person. But I also remember having a conversation with like a couple of neighboring kids, and they said, oh, I don't really have too many friends. I get bullied at school. I can't wait till I finish, kind of thing, so I can just be out of here and do my own thing.
Yeah.
And, it really makes you think how, especially for guys, what that will do to you, going forward. Because, you start to think, okay, if we can't find a way to become socially adjusted or make friends or learn how to navigate these difficult relationships growing up, because school can be tough for some people growing up. It can be brutal.
Yeah.
And just because you don't have friends growing up in school, it doesn't mean that you're a crap person. It doesn't mean that you'll never be able to make friends. And I don't think that's what a lot of young men realize. They might think, oh, because I'm not popular in school, I'm the skinny kid, I'm the nerd, I get bullied. That means I'm
destined to be alone forever.
I'm destined to be alone forever. And that's just how, if that's how it is when I'm 14, that's how it's going to be for the rest of my life. Yeah. And that sets a really bad precedent, because I don't think a lot of, I wouldn't say it's young men, just a lot of people realize how big the world is and how much your world opens up after school.
Well, I'm still learning, and I'm into my 30s now, so it's like,
how's
a 14-year-old supposed to know?
Oh, well, that's just it. I think for a lot of people, they don't know. They just, and obviously parents are doing the best they can, saying, oh, just do your best, be kind, put yourself out there, just be yourself. And, that stuff, you know what it is? A lot of adult advice doesn't really apply during the years of puberty, because
they're not adults.
They're not adults. They're not adults. It's a different ballgame completely.
Yeah.
However, so I think a lot of, also like for ladies, I can't speak on behalf of them, but I can't speak on behalf of all of them, but I do feel they're better at socializing and making friends than men in general overall.
100%. And that probably comes into when we start talking about causes and I guess what's encouraged or seen as acceptable from a woman's perspective versus a man's perspective. But I mean, again, going back to 4 out of 5 kids under the age of 18 feel lonely. And I started to think about that a bit more deeply. I was like, was that a stat that was relevant while I was growing up and we just didn't know about it because men don't talk about it?
Yep.
Or has it become worse? Like a 70% decrease in 2 decades?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, increase in loneliness. That also is if that's the way it's trending, what's going to happen in another 10 years' time?
God, when we just talk by glasses where we don't even have to look at people anymore, right?
We don't even talk anymore. We just sit in our little cubicles and plug away at a computer, and
I can just look at you, and I can think about talking to you. I don't get my message. Did you get my message?
No, Jeremy, it was not clear. Try again.
All right, let's stare harder. If I stare harder, the camera's going to communicate.
Oh gosh, no, it's scary. And maybe hopefully there's going to be more of a counter push towards making sure that it doesn't keep going in that direction. But I think a lot of it is going to come down to individual responsibility and awareness of what loneliness looks like, how is it affecting you, and then what can you do about it?
Yeah.
And then going from there, because being lonely, the idea of loneliness is scary.
It is.
And some people never get comfortable with it. Others, I spent a lot of time being alone, for instance. And it was like a willing state of trying to figure out who I was. But even during that alone time, I didn't feel lonely.
Yeah.
Which hopefully makes sense to everyone. But
well, let's explore that a little bit. Let's explore that a little bit, because loneliness is, by definition, you feel like you're by yourself and you don't like it. I think
Yes.
that's what loneliness is by definition. And being alone is you are by yourself, but you're okay with it. And, you can be alone for a number of different reasons. There's nothing wrong with being alone. You like you said, you can go away for a little while to reflect on yourself. I know for myself, I had about a breakup, and I needed to reflect on, who I was, what I wanted going forward. And part of that time is extremely important to work on yourself. But I don't think being alone for long periods of time is healthy for anybody.
I was going to say the same thing.
Humans are social creatures. We are meant to be in communities. We're meant to have interactions with other people. But I feel one of the causes of loneliness in particular is this ideal that, for societal expectations, men should be independent and self-reliant. And,
right.
It nourishes this whole, I think people take that, okay, let's take some time back to, reflect on what I want to do and work on myself. And I think some people take that to a very unhealthy degree.
Yeah.
They'll go away and they say, I need to be this lone wolf, this alpha wolf, this stupid,
lone wolf mentality.
Lone wolf mentality. Yeah. And it's something I actually didn't learn, I believe, until I started, again, with an ego thing, I started admitting, hey, I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Where can I get some help with this? Where can I get someone else's perspective? And for me, a start was just quite literally going onto YouTube and looking at for some answers. And it quite literally started off with like, how do I get over my girlfriend? How do I get my girlfriend back? That's where it started, right?
I'll get my girlfriend back.
Yeah. And slowly that actually morphed. And I'm very fortunate because you can go down one of two different paths. It could be, what
do they call them now? Incels? Isn't that the term that's described to like for lonely men? Which I think just quickly on that little point, there probably is a community of very radicalized and on the fringe belief about male loneliness and how the world has done them wrong, and they're very quite rather toxic towards everyone, especially women. But the term incel gets thrown around a lot, even in the general direction of guys who are just going through that phase and haven't learned to communicate and things like that. And I think it's really damaging.
It is.
It's not nice. It's really not nice. But yeah, sorry to cut you off a little bit.
No, that's fine because, just with the incel culture and stuff as well, I think it is, like you said, when you start going down, what I was mentioning before, you can go down one of two paths when you get to this state of, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I want to look for some advice. And that advice can be either very good or very, very unhealthy. And I think when it gets to that unhealthy side where, it's someone who's preaching, screw the world, you don't need anybody,
women are disgusting.
Women are disgusting,
they hate you.
Stop focusing on that and focus on yourself, and they should come to you and you deserve it. So anyone who doesn't believe that sucks. That's when it gets real bad.
Yeah. I think people fall into it too because they start to form a bit of a brotherhood and connection around that.
Yeah.
Like they develop an identity in line with what others are doing. And then because they fall into that and it becomes, as I said, it's marginalized, right? So it's on the fringes. And these people, as a result, flock together really hard. It's like, you understand me, bro. You get me. You know what I'm about.
It's like, this
and
happened
I know
to
what
me.
you're about.
I know what you're about. You know what I'm about. I've been through it and I get it. And my advice to you is...
We're bonded.
We're bonded. Screw those people and you only need yourself. And I think they find connection, like a weird sense of community in these
100%.
Ideals.
Yeah.
The good part is community. Excellent. You got someone to talk to. Right? That's
that's
the one positive that comes out of it. I think everything else that comes with those mindsets and those ideals are really, they just pull each other down at that point in time.
Yeah.
But again, for anyone wondering, so I think there's two ways you can go on YouTube, on anywhere that you look, really. You can go down this side of focus on yourself, fuck the world, and, just do it yourself, and the world owes you, and you'll get what you deserve if you just focus on yourself. And it can be really lonely, and it can be really dark, very dark path to tread down. The other way, which I'm very glad that I went down, and the path that I went down was more of a path of, you know what? maybe you don't know all the answers. And you know what? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
You're learning, you're on a path, and there's nothing wrong with being a work in progress kind of person.
Yeah.
And that part caught me. I think that was one of the first lines I learned. Like, you're a work in progress right now, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
And you're not alone in that fact.
Yeah.
Right? The gentlemen, all the men out there in the world at some point are going through this same phase, and it's not unique to you, which there's some solidarity to that idea, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not on the fringe. Like I'm not a special case and the world has just thrown me to the wolves. I am actually just like everyone else, and just like everyone else, there's a pathway forward for me too. So it's there's a lot of freedom in actually understanding and believing that notion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it doesn't have to be a breakup or something. It can be. I think that's the Kickstarter for a lot of guys is a breakup.
I was going to ask, what do you think? Yeah, what do you think are the main causes that like trigger loneliness, especially in guys?
Okay. Allow me to go out on a very small limb here. I actually am going to say the big one is breakups.
Okay.
Reason being is, I'm going to say this, guys. I have a very particular thing to say about this because I saw this all throughout my late teens, early 20s, especially from an all-boys school.
Yeah.
You go to university, you start mingling with girls for the first time in a while, and then all of a sudden your boy, Nigel, gets a girlfriend. And where do you see Nigel?
Yeah, Nigel
disappears. You never see him again.
Yeah.
Until
yeah,
he breaks up. All of a sudden, it's like, Nigel, where have you been for the last 12 months? Like, I just broke up with my girl. Meh. It's like, that's cool, man. Just, come hang with us. We missed you, man. It's been a while. That's healthy friendship, what it should be.
Yeah.
And I saw this happen a number of times between Nigel and Barry and Dominic, Thomas. And I think for a lot of guys, hopefully you've got that social circle still, but, some guys will go on a relationship that doesn't go for 12 months. It'll go for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And good on them. Great. But those guys, and I myself did the same thing, you put everything into that relationship.
Yeah.
You give all of your
form
time.
New circles.
Form new
friends.
Well, that's just it. And in my case, part of my relationship wasn't really working very well. So I said, I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to skip seeing my friends. At some stage, I'm going to skip going to work. I'm going to skip these engagements with my family because I've got some conflict in my relationship, which I wanted to, show I'm there for you. I want to make this work. As a result, when that relationship did eventually inevitably end, I was left with nothing.
Yeah.
I had nowhere to go. I had no one to see. And one of the first things I did do was try to reach out to some of my old connections. And I'm very thankful for the ones who said, dude, I haven't forgotten about you at all. Let's hang out again. But I think that's the biggest thing is a breakup. When a guy puts everything into a relationship, that's kind of what triggers the start of the loneliness kind of part.
It makes a lot more sense. And then adding on to that, it's not always that you end up having those friends who are willing to take you back.
Yeah.
They sort of go, oh, you're pussy whipped now. Like, off you go. You got a girlfriend. You don't need us anymore. And then don't come crawling back kind of deal.
Yeah.
So you lose the connection that you've formed and you've invested a lot of time and energy into. And then when it ends, there's none of those people around to sort of pick you back up and get you into that social sphere again.
Yeah.
And like I was saying before, when you do have a relationship and you're building all these new connections and circles, and when it's like a messy divorce, and probably true in most things, women tend to take a lot of the stuff with the divorce when it goes, and that includes those social circles. Yeah. So all that time and energy you put into actually forming any connection you've got, it's now completely disappearing. And on top of that, I think there's like a level of not necessarily shame, but like when you come out of the relationship, did you find that you were like, I can't really face any of those people? You didn't, because you reached out to guys, but do you think people experience that?
No,
I isolate as a result.
Because I didn't really realize I isolated myself. It wasn't toxic to the degree that my partner was like at the time was like, no. Don't go out and see these people. I don't want you seeing them. It was more I made the choice for myself. It's like, I won't go and see them because I want to stay with you and make sure that you're okay, kind of thing. And I kind of realized after we did split that the people that we were hanging out with weren't they were more their friends than my friends.
Yeah.
And so I was in this weird position where after we split, I could either choose to, kind of hang around this existing friend group that wasn't really mine, or I could try and create something new for myself, which is what I chose to do, which was the best thing I could have done, really.
Exactly.
So yeah, to answer your initial question, one of the biggest prompters of male loneliness is, number one, a breakup. But I also think number two is guys not really figuring out in the first place how to connect with people.
Yeah.
As a young adult, because we should be doing that or learning to do that throughout our what's the formative years in
Formative
school?
years.
Formative
Yeah,
years in
that's the
school.
one. Yeah.
And it could be something as simple as learning to, talk to the new guy in school, saying, "Hey, dude, welcome. How are you?
Yeah.
What kind of things are you into? Are you into football?
Yeah.
Are you into Transformers? Like, tell me a bit about yourself."
I'm a big Transformer nerd.
Yeah. And it might sound like, oh, that's cute. That's what kids do. And I think if you never actually learn how to do that as a kid in school, if a kid's lonely in school, they're going to be lonely as an adult because they never learnt to do that. It's much more difficult to learn to do that as an adult, where I guess at that point in time, you feel like you've got a lot to lose. You've got like a reputation, you've got a job, you've got, I don't know, people looking at you. And in school, it's like, oh, I can put those years
built up
behind
that ego.
Yeah, you've got this ego that's been built up. So those to me are the main two. People might say stuff like, you move away, you have a job change. But I believe with, moving away, job changes, if you've learnt how to meet people and make friends with that skill, you can take that skill anywhere you go to meet people.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, a breakup and just not learning how to, make friends in the first place.
Well, to kind of put it all into a nice little box then, if it's all to do with transitioning and changing.
Yes.
Right. So breakup is a change of state. Moving is a change of state and environment. Job changes are a change of state and environment. But you can navigate all of those things, like you said, if you actually have the tools to be able to start afresh.
Yep.
Or like reform those connections. So maybe the whole reason for male loneliness, and perhaps some researchers need to get onto this and look after our kids a bit more, is go back and teach our youngins while they're still young. And then as guys who maybe missed that boat, the knowledge that we can learn it hopefully is empowering enough that you can see a way forward. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it is like we say, we should be learning it in school, and then that carries on to when we become adults in our professional career, etc. But again, within my line of work, where I teach introverts social skills and stuff, it's most of the guys I work with, it's quite literally just guys who they're great people, they're decent people. They just haven't never really figured out, how do I start a conversation with someone? How do I talk to them without looking creepy? Because obviously there's all this ego that we just need to get rid of, or learn how to manage. And I found out, like, wow, this is easy. It's the easiest thing in the world. So I think it's like you said, if we start young, then we can kind of help a lot of this this trouble, I suppose, as we get older, where it becomes a lot more difficult for people.
Yeah. Well, in that case, then what do you think is the because we kind of identified what loneliness is and where it comes from. What do you think are the big impacts, like downsides on a human, but specifically with respect to men? What do you think the downsides of loneliness are?
Oh, I think it's pretty evident for anyone who's gone through it before. So obviously, it's when you're lonely, you feel depressed. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like, is there something wrong with me? So I think, again, there's two ways of looking at it. You might think it's a personal thing. We think, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I've got to change something. Maybe I need to work on myself. Good way of looking at it. And then the other way too is like, there's nothing wrong with me. The world sucks. It's everyone else's
it's all their fault.
Yeah. But yeah, so in ways that, that's, I guess, two ways of looking at it. But in terms of how it affects guys specifically, I think when you get lonely, as a guy, what do? We throw ourselves into something, and you might start working more.
Well, we try and find something to lessen the pain, right?
Yeah.
Like humans don't like being in a painful state. So we'll do anything to find an escape from that, if that pain is either what's the word, chronic,
Yep.
or intense. So if it's really painful, we find a way out. And if it's been painful for a long time, we're looking for a way out. So it's like the one I personally noted during those times when I wasn't doing so well is I'd look for outs in things like gaming specifically.
Yep.
I play a lot of video games.
Video games.
A lot of video. I'm glad I never fell into like alcohol or drugs or, something that was truly damaging to my body. But I mean, video games in a sense did damage my body because not only did it do things like wreck my posture and give me a bad back and stuff like that, but I stopped going to the gym.
Right. Interesting.
And as a dude who's all built around going to the gym, I found myself on this slippery slope of, well, I don't have time for it. And now that I'm starting to get a bit chubbier and losing a little bit of that muscle mass, I don't want anyone to see me in the gym not look good, and I'm ashamed to be there. So I won't go.
Interesting. It's funny you say that too, because ironically, something that people can throw them in, that guys can throw themselves into too much is the gym. And I think a lot of solutions that any guy will give out, first and foremost to anything, is go to the gym.
The gym, bro.
Which is, we'll talk about this in depth in another episode, but just to touch on it, I think it's a good starting point, going to the gym. The reason being is it gets your body moving first and foremost, and any form of physical exercise to any human being on the planet, male, female, any gender you want, exercise is a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah.
For your mental health, it'll get the blood flowing, it'll get your blood moving, it'll get your body into a physical state, which is better.
Those endorphins, bro.
Yeah, those endorphins will get built up. Now, actually, Byron, because you're the gym goer who's definitely more active, what are some of the actual things that people should be going to the gym for to benefit rather than just physical exercise? Like, what is the purpose of, if people say, hey, just go to the gym, bro, what should they actually be doing rather than just exercising?
I mean, it's the habit forming portion of it in particular, I find, and then it gives you a sense of autonomy and control. It also allows you to see progress, which I think is really important for combating a lot of those like downsides in life. When you feel like you're stuck and you're not going anywhere and you're just getting worse by the day, when you can see yourself improving and that 5 kilo dumbbell turns into a 10 kilo dumbbell and that 60 kilo bench turns into an 80 kilo bench, you're like, oh, I'm doing good, right? So there's this constant level of progress that is obtainable and that you can keep pushing for. Yeah. So by going, you're out of the house, you're not doing dumb stuff. I don't know about everybody else, but personally, when I lift weights, brain go empty, right? So when I'm trying to push something heavy, I'm not thinking about anything other than, holy crap, this is heavy. And if I don't breathe, I'm going to pass out. So it gives you a reprieve from all that chatter in your brain as well. So it's, but the habit forming side, the constant progress that you can achieve when you're consistent. And then, I mean, ultimately, if you're doing gym correctly and you're taking care of your nutrition, which tends to come with it because you don't want to let yourself down in the kitchen, you start to look good too. And then people notice it and it gives you just like that extra pump up. So
extra pump.
Yeah, it's not just about the muscles. It is about all of the like you could go on forever as well. But even like cardiovascular stuff, it's good for heart health. It's good for blood flow. It's good for, releasing all the neurochemicals into your brain that make you feel good. Exercise in general, like that's why they say when you're having a rough day, just go for a walk. Yeah. It's just movement.
It's
the body loves to move.
Body. I think just sitting still with your blood and your brain and your thoughts, which will help stew it, is not great. So number one is just some basic form of physical exercise is good. However, if we're talking about ways that we can actually start to address or combat male loneliness, getting your body moving is physically good for you.
Good start.
What do you believe, Byron, is a good place to start? Let's start talking. Rather than like, this is what male loneliness is. This is why it's bad, and we all understand that. But what are some things that you found that have actually helped you over the years with, combating this epidemic, I suppose, not just as a one-off, but even, consistently in a long term in your everyday life? I'll ask you.
Yeah. So for a long time, I wouldn't acknowledge it at all. right? And I think regardless of anything else that you might decide to do, it's having a good long look at yourself and a very honest conversation in your heart about where are you actually at. And then once you go, holy shit, I'm incredibly lonely and it hurts my heart.
Yeah.
Like even just thinking about this right now actually is giving me a little bit of a tingle.
Yeah.
Because once you can admit to that, it's the same with any problem or addiction or whatever. Once you can say, okay, I have this, going on, you're then empowered to actually do something about it. Right. So
pushing it to the back of your head and just refusing to acknowledge that it's a problem is the biggest barrier to starting progress with anything, I think.
It bites you so much harder, right? Every time you push it down, at some point it comes back and it hits you square in the face. It's like a right hook or left hook from Mike Tyson, and the punches, they don't stop and they don't slow down. He's got you for 12 rounds and he's going to beat the shit out of you. Yeah. So it's like, okay, but getting past that, personally for me, the biggest change that I ever experienced in my life was actually getting help for it and talking to people in a position to provide me guidance. Right. And that was like, it was all free and things like that, because fortunately our government is aware that, mental health is an important part of a functioning human. But yeah, and like the funny thing is when I went to do therapy, I started thinking like, oh, it's going to be on my medical record. I can't have this. This is a shameful thing. Like someone might be like looking at me in the future going, oh, he's crazy. He's a little bit wrong in the head. But no, at first I didn't even believe in the whole idea of talking to her. And it was just a therapist, right? She wasn't a psychologist or anything at this point. She was just a lady who had some guidance or some knowledge around how to tackle these sort of things and where to start. And like I said, at first I refused it mentally. And it took me a couple of sessions to actually open up to the notion that, you know what, this isn't lame or it's not unmanly or, it'll actually help me.
Yeah.
And following through on some of the like thinking exercises and breathing exercises and then talking about it more. The talking about it more really helped, because the more I talked about it with someone else who then either confirmed or denied my thoughts, they either helped me replace them with things that were actually beneficial to me as opposed to, It's like, it's not just like rattling around all and bouncing off your skull, where you're like, yeah, Byron, you're a piece of shit and you deserve to be lonely. It's like, no, Byron, that is not a healthy thought. We're going to replace that with something a little more beneficial. Yeah. But yeah, that was the first thing. And then from there it was being able to trust people enough. And we've talked about in the past of not going from 0 to 100, but you start to learn how to add those little bits of yourself into conversations with people you trust.
Yeah.
And so slowly over time, you get to a point where I turn around and I'm like, Jeremy, I'm feeling like a piece of shit today, man, and I don't know how to tackle these things. And you go, it's all right, buddy. Let's go one step at a time. And like, that's nice. It's a good feeling.
I'm glad. I'm really glad. And it is what you said. I think the biggest thing that we mentioned just earlier before is being able to admit, hey, I'm not feeling great. I feel very lonely. Because I think, and it's like anything. It's like, hey, I'm feeling really overweight. I'm feeling really unhealthy. Or because guys, I help's like, you know what? I actually do struggle with social skills and I might need a bit of help. The second that you can admit just, hey, I don't have all the answers, or hey, I might need a bit of help here, is the very first step that I think anybody needs to take to start improving on anything.
Wholeheartedly.
And I think it's a great thing. And, it shouldn't be this huge, admirable, big work of art saying, oh my God, I can't believe you went and got help and did this. Because if anything, yes, I am proud of you that you did it. I'm very thankful that you did, because I don't think you and I would have crossed paths in the eventual future that we did.
Probably not.
But in the same way, it's, one of those things which you're thinking, oh, I don't want this to go on my record, or I don't want anyone to think that I'm weak or anything, or, oh, I don't need anyone to help me with this issue of mine. I'll figure it out by myself. But it's never, to me, an unmasculine thing or a shameful thing to say, hey, you know what? I can't do this by myself. I actually do need a bit of help. And because I actually want to get this solved. I want to move on with my life. I want to excel. And this is holding me back. And, as human beings, we're not perfect. We're all flawed. We all have weaknesses. And as a collaborative species, as a social species, hey, just get some help from somebody once in a while, which they're good at, and they can help you out. And once you're able to do that, you're like, oh, sweet. You know what? Thank you very much. That doesn't make you any less of a person because you got some help somewhere. It's like, I don't know, going to the doctor because you got a broken arm. It's like, no, it's not me. They go to the doctor. I'll fix it myself. Bro, just go to the doctor.
No, I'm not going to admit to weakness. What are you talking about?
Like, like, I don't know, man. I think the second that you can do that, and it takes a lot of reflection and introspection and looking within yourself to be able to say that, that I think actually makes you a pretty big person to be able to say, hey, you know what? I don't have all the answers, and I'm going to see if I can find someone who can help.
Ultimately, it allows you to be more of like who you are and provide more in a holistic sense to the people around you and the people you care about, right? And it actually gets you back into being around people. Because when you're lonely, the last thing you want to do is actually go and socialize, right? Because you already feel like shit. The last thing you're going to do is put that on display or have someone pick up on the fact that, or even how do I get to that point? So it's like, okay, yes, a little bit of work needs to be done, and there are solutions to how to move forward. And like that was my particular solution, but I see a lot of young guys who do put a lot of time and effort into the gym, and that's a hobby for them, right?
Yeah.
And as a result, they form male connections, and I see them dap each other up in the gym, and they're like, hey, bro, how you going? They're having their giggles. And sometimes as an old head in the gym, I'll look at them like standing in front of the mirrors in the bench press. I'm like, boys, fuck off for a bit, will you? I want to do some gym work. But at the same time, it's like, I'm happy for you. You guys are like having a bit of a chin wag. So, but yeah, like hobbies are obviously can be a great way to move through as long as it's done healthily.
Yeah.
When they, again, start to form that toxic mindset around, well, I'm not lonely anymore, but everybody else that isn't you and we haven't trauma bonded together, they can all get stuffed, especially the women's. Like we don't want no whammons in our life.
No, they don't belong here because it's only us. Just for men only.
Exactly. Well, and we're the Just Men podcast,
of course,
but we're not excluding women.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
This is not an incel podcast, people.
No, absolutely not. If this is what you've come for, I'm sorry, you've come to the wrong place. Healthy masculinity only.
But we're glad you made it here because now we're going to open your mind.
Now that you're this far into the episode and you're this far in, you can't escape us now. You're going to start to slowly change those bad thoughts with healthy ones.
Exactly. So, but before you mentioned that to get out of your loneliness, you reconnected with some friends.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's worked for you, or do you have other, like, do you coach people through this sort of stuff? Like, what's it look like?
Absolutely. Look, one of the biggest things that obviously we have to get to this mindset thing first. The biggest mindset of when I coach people, the number one, because they're already having a conversation with me, they've already said, hey, I actually need a bit of help. Sweet.
Yeah.
That's the first step. You're on the right path. And when we do choose to work together, excellent. The part that I always go to is, what are you interested in? And it always comes back to that because, you can go to a run club, you can go to the gym, you can go to that social pizza place down the road if you want to, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. But at the end of the day, it's in general, there's a two-pronged approach, right? Two-pronged approach. Number one, just like exercising, you gotta socialize with people in your day-to-day. Because socializing is a muscle. If you haven't socialized with, you've seen what it's like coming out of the pandemic, people hadn't talked together in a couple of years. They're awkward as hell when they start talking to you.
Dude, it was so hard.
It was difficult. It's like, how do I hold a normal conversation? Even for me, it was very difficult. And so it does require a little bit of momentum. So just start off by saying hi to people. You walk down the road and you see someone walking their dog. It's like, hey, what's your dog's name? Nice. Have a good day. Have a good walk. You're walking past someone, just say good morning. That's it. Just say good morning. But you'll slowly start to unravel that, dormant social muscle that's been there, not being used for so long. Once you realize, hey, socializing is normal. Human beings socialize. What you got to do from then on is quite literally start to find connections with people. And that usually appears from things that you're interested in. So if you're interested in pizza, go to the pizza place. But if you're not interested, if you're not super keen on gym, you're not super keen on the running club, you're more interested in trading cards, go to your trading card shop, man. Like that's where you're gonna find like-minded people. So, but to answer your initial question, did I just reach out to old connections? It's a good place to start, and it was a good place for me to start getting my social muscle rolling again. But I really dived deep into my interests, and at the time, it was like, well, the only thing I really know at this point is cosplay. That's what I've been doing for 10 years. So what I do, I just started going to conventions, and rather than just walk around with my partner for the entire time, I said, fuck it, let's go and talk let's talk to 5 new people.
Yes.
There's a con. By the end of it, I'd talk to like 30. Okay.
Yeah.
So it really is just find what you like. And because I think at this point in time, I had nothing to lose. I really had nothing to lose. It's like, oh, well, cool. What am I going to do if I embarrass myself? Well, there's no one to laugh at me because I'm not talking to anyone right now. Right? It was one of those things. And I could have been like, oh, well, if I'm lonely, guess I'm lonely. That's how it is. No, it's absolutely not. You have every single bit of power in the world to take control of your social life. And it starts with you. And it starts with you and it ends with you. Like, you have all the power in the world. So
it's the whole, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yes.
Right? You can be led to all the conventions, your friends can drag you along to shit, but you have to decide that, all right, I deserve better. Like, I want to give myself better, and then I'm worth giving more to, and that takes you out of that deep, dark place of loneliness and into a better space. I
agree with just the first part, deserve. I don't think anyone deserves anything because you get like really entitled to that point. But everything else you said is like, you know what? Yeah. I don't deserve. It's like, you know what? I believe that I can do better. I believe that, I am a worthy person worth being friends with. Right. Yeah. I think you only deserve as much as you are willing to, put the work in and really, again, this comes to being honest with yourself. If you haven't been a social person and you've been neglecting all your friends, like I did for a while, and it's like, I deserve to have my friends. No, I really didn't.
That's a very good point. Yeah. I'm actually glad you brought that up because it's so innocuous and you don't really think about it. Yeah. But the whole idea of being entitled to something is very insidious.
It is. It
is very worm-like.
So, if anything, try to take the word deserve or owed. I'm owed this out of your vocabulary, and instead just work really hard and fall in love with who you are and what you're doing. And there is quite literally, it's not a matter of if it happens; it's literally a matter of when it happens. You will meet people. You will find your tribe.
This is why you're good at what you do, Jeremy. This is the proof in the pudding, young man.
Look, this is what we're here for, Barnes, to spread the good word that spreading healthy masculinity is something that is only done one step at a time, and we're taking a step together forward, holding hands, healthily supporting each other.
And that's very masculine. Holding another man's hand is masculine.
Okay, Byron, little bit of trivia for you.
Okay, hit me.
If you had to cross the road with your dude friend, could be me, doesn't have to be me, and safety comes first, is it more masculine or less masculine to hold their hand crossing the road?
I'm going to say, actually, it's funny because my answer would be different at different points in my life.
Yeah, it would be.
Now I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll hold my homie's hand.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm a man and I'm not ashamed or afraid and I don't care what anyone else thinks about it. It's like, he's my bro.
That's the exact...
10 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, Jeremy, I can't hold your hand. Yeah, exactly. People think less of me.
Exactly. And so anyone who heard Byron's answer, that is the correct answer. Because, again, going back all the way to episode 1, we were talking about what is healthy masculinity. In essence, healthy masculinity is not, are people going to think that I'm not masculine because I hold another guy's hand? No, masculinity is being happy and comfortable and confident within yourself that you do the right thing without worrying what other people think about you. That is what being secure in yourself and in your masculinity is all about. Your past. No, don't worry. You can test me at any time as well, my friend. Like, this isn't a one-way conversation.
No, I'm cooking. I'm cooking some. No, I'm not cooking anything. I know how to cook though.
That's you do. Cool. That's another masculine trait is knowing how to cook. But we'll get to that one on another stage.
Different time.
Okay.
So we got some solutions.
We got some
And
solutions. I think
starting
a
points.
big thing too is, you said you hold your hands with your homies, is just talking with your homies without giving them shit.
Yeah. Oh,
It's like, I know people will say over time, it's like, oh, boys will be boys. They're just going to punch each other. They're just going to talk shit to each other.
yeah.
I would love if the narrative was boys will be boys. Like, oh my God, these guys are supporting each other. They're like helping
Yeah.
each other across the road. They're giving each other piggybacks and laughing about it. And they're being kind to people. If that was the boys to be boys, boys will be boys narrative, I'll be so happy.
Yeah. Well, because social media does do a little bit towards, and I only say social media because it's the connectedness and the viewpoints that we get. Having boys shit on each other is like normal. And when your homie is being vulnerable, it's like, nah, screw you, bro. That I'm gonna laugh at your pain kind of deal. And we see that sure, it might be humorous on occasion in the right context.
Yeah.
Right. Because I saw an interesting stat the other day that was friends who banter with each other, and something like 30% stronger relationships or something, or it's like more genuine. So if I give you a little bit of shit every now and then, it's all like in good spirits. And I think that's really then it kind of it does a lot for how strong the relationship is.
I think so.
But as soon as your guy, like, I've talked about this clip before, but the guy who's on playing whatever game, with his mates is like, oh, boys, if I, died tomorrow, if I had something really important to tell you, would you care? And like, nah, don't care. And for the next minute, we all have a bit of a laugh and a gaff. But at the back of my mind, you get to the end of the video and you think, oh shit, I hope that was for the gag.
Yeah.
And not this guy genuinely reaching out and then his 5 mates all just, like, because they don't know how to handle it or don't want to handle it, or it's not seen as a guy type of behavior.
Yeah.
That they just cut him off entirely. Like,
look, put it this way, Byron. I think the banter is very. I'm not saying banter's bad. Banter's fucking amazing. But
it's great.
It's good in, again, number one, established relationship or connection with somebody. So if you and I were to have some banter, I'm like, wow, Byron, you know what? Your muscles, they look like this much smaller today. It's like, right? But this is after I was like, you know what? I'm going to give you, 90% honesty and openness and support. And, once in a while, it's like, oh, here, have some banter once in a while. And then at the end of it, it's like, just kidding, by the way, your muscles are fucking splendid. I love them, right? If that clip, again, maybe it was taken out of context or whatever it was like, hey, guys, if I died tomorrow, would you come to my funeral? I was like, nah, I wouldn't do it. Anyway, for real, actually, if that was to happen, bro, like, I really would. I really would be there for you. Just thought I'd let you know. If that was the full thing, then great. I think that's fantastic. But, people might say a clip like that. It's, they say, oh, guys, would you come to my funeral if I died tomorrow? And some people might say, oh, well, we know that you were recording it, so we're doing it for the laughs, man. We're doing it for the laughs. Yeah. Even if, because, Byron, I know on this episode, you and I are talking, this is going to go live. This is going to get out the internet. If we were to, same thing, have banter, I would always, at some point in time, just like, hey, dude, just to let you know, it was a joke, right? Just, I love you. Yeah. Like, it's nothing hard. So, I've got no problem with people. So, and again, maybe the clip was taken out of context. Maybe it was for real, because if it was, I feel really sorry for the guy. Just, being, again...
Come join our circle.
Oh, come join the Just Men circle. This is where real men will hang out.
We'll look after you, bro.
We look after you. We'll look after each other. That's what just men are supposed to do. So... But it is. It's one of those clips that unfortunately lives rent free in my mind sometimes. Actually, I sent you a clip earlier this week. Is just, hey guys, here's the skit about what if guys were actually supportive of each other.
Yeah.
And it was some guys at a pizza place.
It was so real.
And
it was so funny.
The funny part about it, which is unfortunate but good, but ironic at the same time. So the clip I sent Byron was 4 dudes. At some pizza place. Yeah. And
sitting there having drinks together and being vulnerable and then supporting each other.
And the whole joke's like, wow, imagine if men were supportive to each other. And I'm like, this should be normal conversation. Why is this like written as a skit?
Let's normalize this, please.
Let's normalize it. And so you know, it was something very simple like, oh, guys, just, you know, had a breakup and I'm feeling crap. It's like, oh, dude, really? Are you okay? Like, you know, that really sucks, dude. Like, let's talk about it. Like, let's sit down and have a chat. And that was
some ice cream, bro.
Do some ice cream, man. I'll give you a neck massage. You know, let's go out. Let's go out on a boy date. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a conversation with one of my mates. It was you actually know him.
Yes.
And
good bloke.
He was saying to another one of our friends, "Oh, I'm going out to brunch with Jeremy," and then our friend was like, "Wait, just the two of you?" It's like, "Yeah." It was like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, just boys doing boy brunch." And for some reason, our friend was like, "Oh, that's so interesting. Boys don't usually do that."
I can almost hear the word that they were thinking.
Yeah, exactly. You can.
We all did. It's all in our head.
But again, it's one of those things like, well, there's nothing wrong with, you know, hanging out with your mate in just an intimate setting. I could take you out to romantic dinner, Byron. I'm like, this is just a boy dinner.
Would you?
You know, I'd buy you a drink. I'd hold your hand if it's so called for it. And again, people might say, oh, that's weird. No, dude, that's just friendship. Like, I'm happy to show kindness. I'm happy to show affection to people that I am close to and I care for in a way that doesn't insinuate, hey, I have romantic feelings for you. Just, you can be mates and shake hands, hold hands, give each other a hug and a kiss on the cheek if you're so inclined to do so.
So cute.
Oh, so cute. And there's nothing insidious about it. But again, coming back to the healthy masculinity thing, it's just showing that you're secure within yourself. You're secure within your friendship with each other, that, you know, you can show these things without feeling uncomfortable. And if it did make you uncomfortable, I'm like, well, bro, that's fine. We have our boundaries. I respect that. Right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, hopefully, like, goes a long way to the more it's talked about the more it's normalized, the more that we actually see that these sort of things are acceptable, the more that we test it with each other, the more we trial. I hope over time, you know, we talked about a loneliness epidemic in young men, and there probably is actually a piece of literature out there that has called it an epidemic because it is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll start to actually combat that and move in a different direction with it, because I don't know. I don't want to get to a point where especially young men and the next generations of men don't feel like they have any way forward.
Yeah.
Because that's a very bleak and terrible place to be. And then extreme behaviors start developing and people are marginalized, radicalized, they do dumb shit. And then we end up with a really toxic world to live in. So loneliness is bad.
Look, as we kind of, I was like, wow, this episode's gone by real fast. We're kind of towards the end already.
It does. It goes real quick.
Look, to kind of wrap it up, what are some pointers you would kind of have going forward, as it's not going to be, you know, this one episode of the Just Men podcast is going to solve the loneliness epidemic. But for anyone who is in a situation where they feel lonely right now, whether that be as someone still in school, maybe they're a young adult kind of just leaving school and has just entered university or the workforce, or maybe you are an adult male and you're feeling lonely, what are some pointers or some advice that you would have for people in those different situations?
First pointer, start with awareness. Becoming aware of it, doing a little bit of exploration into. Don't be so afraid of your feelings. Like you're only in your own head. So, you know, it's just you and you. Have a conversation with yourself about how you're feeling. You don't even have to tell anybody else that you did that, because they'll never know if you don't want them to. But being aware of what is actually taking place. And if you're in that space, right, we talked about before, acknowledging that it is an issue, right? Because it is not a place that anybody should sit, right? So once you've done that introspection work and you're aware of what it looks like, then, I mean, the only pointer that then comes off the back of that is do something and anything and try something. I don't care if you get therapy or you go to the gym or you talk to a bro or you talk to your mum or you talk to your dog. Start with something, because every time in my life I can think of where I've hit bottom and I've been lonely, it's not one action that I can look back to and go,
this is the one catalyst thing that changed everything.
It was March 23rd, 2022, and it all started to turn. No, it's like you get 2, 3, 4 weeks in, you get a month or two in, you're like, oh, I'm doing better. I'm feeling better. I'm on the up, right? And then that just has that flow-on effect.
Yeah.
So start with the awareness, and then I don't care what you do something, right? Do something that is going to put you on a better path.
Yeah.
And then keep testing, keep trying.
I think that better path one is a good one. It's like, we'll do something that is, taking you one step closer to where you actually want to be. So
Yes.
yeah, video games is a good escape, but it doesn't actually, put you in a position where you're going to change anything about your situation.
Yeah.
If you want to meet people, then go, at the very least, physically be somewhere where there are people out who might
Go to a gaming bar.
Go to a gaming
you
bar.
know,
Go to a game store.
Form a
and
team.
Talk
Yeah,
to the
go
guy
to
behind the
EB
counter.
Games.
Go to the
Yep.
just talk to people. Be the person behind the counter. Start talking to them every time you go in once a week or something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think what I would have to say I'll break it up again for young people in school, people just out of school, and adults from that point onwards. It'd be a little bit different for each person. So for young people in school, if you are lonely, you don't have many friends, you don't have any friends, just number one, like, it does get better. Like, as soon, like, your school is, this small in the scope of the world. Because once you leave, you have everybody else in the world to meet. You have, the means to get there. You have transport options. You can go places that you couldn't go to as a kid. And so your options for meeting different people are way, way different. So yeah, if you're a big nerd like me, you didn't really fit in because you like video games and anime, and you're one of the only Asian guys in a school full of Australian guys, then you didn't really fit in. But as soon as I left and I went to university and I found the anime club and I started doing cosplay, I'm like, oh my God, there's people here who do get me.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, that's how I met Byron. It's great. So Byron did go to my school, so that's how we did meet. So number one, if you're young and you're thinking, oh, well, that's it. If I can't socialize now, then life's over. I can't. No, things change. Things change dramatically when you leave school. So number one, keep that in mind. Now, number two, say you just finished school and you're like, all right, I've waited till I finish school. What do I do now? And I didn't learn how to socialize. Number one, like we mentioned before, just start talking to people in your everyday. Just as a good morning, just say hi. Oh, what's your dog's name? And guy at the cafe I've seen twice now. I now know the name of his dog, his kids, what he does on the weekend. Like, we just have this is a 2-minute chat, like, for 2 times, right? And that's all the conversation is. And you'll just get to find that it's normal. Just normalize the facts that people are social, that you can talk to people. Okay.
Yep.
So that's number 2. And number 3 is, this applies for everybody as an adult. If you want to start being social, if you want to start combating your loneliness, if you are lonely, like we mentioned before, find something you're interested in. I don't care how, you don't have to be 10 out of 10. This is my passion, my life's goal kind of interest. It can just be, hey, I'm kind of curious about badminton. Go play badminton. If you're interested in video games, go play video games. So go to the gaming store, go to gaming conventions. But the point is, when you go to these places, make it a point to start a conversation with someone at least once. And you say, oh, that's scary. I can't do that. Well, start small. Start off with just saying hi to someone at the club. Cool. Next time you go, say hi. Also ask them a question about their day.
Yeah.
So you take it again in small steps.
I've said this before. Small little hack is you can go to places where people are employed to be there, i.e. grocery stores, and they're standing at the checkout. They have to talk to you. They're not allowed to go anywhere else. So they're perfect targets. That sounds horrible.
It does.
No, they're actually really good.
People will
They appreciate it.
People will. They do. So people will say people go to Reddit all the time. I go to Reddit all the time. The advice can be very hit or miss.
We've all seen
Reddit.
The best and
worst.
worst.
One of the things just go talk to these people. And a lot of people say, no, don't talk to people behind the counter. They don't want to do that. Bro, talk to people behind the counter. And again,
it's practice.
It's practice. It's ask one question. If you feel awkward, go away. Go talk to another person.
Walk away. They can't leave you.
Oh dear. But that is, again, you might we say it's like, yeah, you can do that, but if you want to find people you've actually got something in common with, people that you gel with, go do things
to the right places.
To the right places.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's our take on male loneliness in a nutshell. How do you feel, Byron? That was pretty good chit chat today.
Well, it is a tricky topic, and like you said, we haven't solved the world's loneliness epidemic in one episode, and we'll probably circle back around at some point. I don't know why I just had an accent, but I did. Circle back around. Book around to that. We'll do it later. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Thanks. It's not often the accents come out. Maybe that can be a segment sometime. We'll just talk in accents and offend people.
That'll be good.
But no, I appreciate the chat, man.
Yeah.
Your vulnerability too.
I appreciate it. The sentiment is returned in exactly the same. It's again, I did talk about my tier system today, but at some stage,
damn it,
some stage we will. But no, I again appreciate it. I don't have many very close guy friends I can be open and vulnerable with. Again, I'm always willing to with the right people, but again, it's a matter of building up that connection bit by bit. So I appreciate you very much and value your friendship a lot. So thought I'd put that out there. Now.
Right back at you.
For anyone else who has enjoyed our vibe, again, just another reminder that we have a Patreon. Again, links in the description. It's the Just Men Podcast Patreon. If you like what we do and you'd like to support it, please consider visiting our page. We put a lot of work into it. And consider contributing to our cause so we can improve what we do.
Yeah, we don't make any big money or anything. We just want to be able to keep pushing this out and get... Like, we want to help all you guys out there.
As best as we can.
The more guys we can help, the better we can look after each other.
Yeah. Look, if you guys have got any questions, any comments, or anything that you feel like you'd like to see from us as well, let us know.
We're receptive.
We're very receptive. We don't have a super big audience at this point, but we're happy to talk to each and every one of you. So
yes, please.
That'd be very, very fun. Anyway, thank you very much if you've come this far for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
We sure will.
Excellent. All right.
Much love, guys.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Take care.
Bye.
Peace.